بعد ثناء الأشياء تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسع كل شيء بما أتاه بالفناء والعدم كما قال عز شأنه كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف الميلاد ولا يعرضه وعده معاصي العباد في الخلوات سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يراه ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يراه نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء تعذيب المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه المهديين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
من ركب سفينته نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق وهوى أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام والتقوى فإنه حبل المتين وعروة الوثقى أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله ونقل أمركم. I advise you all and myself to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to organize our affairs. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we know that today is the last day of the first week of the Hajj and 7th of the Hajj and day after tomorrow we will be witnessing an important day which is the day of Arafat. Now we need to understand that this day of day after tomorrow, that is what I said, day after tomorrow. So Arafah, understanding its importance and understanding its the value of this day is very important for us so that we can join for the Amal the day of Arafah. And it's highly recommended for a person to fast, to pray and to recite the dua of Arafah, which is recommended and which was narrated by beloved Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. To understand the importance of Arafah, just a historical glimpse of what Arafah is. According to the Shia jurisprudence, Muslimin who are on the Hajj pilgrimage, they are supposed to spend a few hours and stay at the ground of Arafah, which is next to Jabal al-Rahma today at present. And it is a place near Mecca, and it is recommended from Asr up till Maghrib, up till sunset. People who are there for Hajj, they have to stay there. And if a person leaves that ground and does not go and stay over there intentionally, his Hajj is invalid. Now this Arafah, this ground itself is very important. Right from the time of Prophet Adam it was important, and it is said that this ground is a ground where no sin has been committed. And now what is the philosophy behind we going to Arafat and staying there and asking for the repentance and forgiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is said that Prophet Adam, when he descended upon the earth and he went to this ground and he stayed there, that was the place where he cried and wept and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And that is where and when he met Lady Hawa. And this is the time of Dhuhr, as it is narrated in a few narrations, time of Asr or Dhuhr. Between that, that is the time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Prophet Adam to ask for forgiveness using those words which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had taught Prophet Adam, and those words were the name of Islam. Now, so this is again an important day, and people then from there they go to Mash'ar and they stay there and they start their rituals and those obligations which are there. Now, for the reason why this land is known as Arafat, why am I telling you all these things? It is because so that we understand the importance of that land and the importance of the day which we are to witness. inshallah, and to recite the dua and to be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for forgiveness. And I have mentioned the importance of that day previous Friday also. Now this land is known as Arafat. Why is it known as Arafat? One of the reasons in the reports it has been mentioned that when Angel Jibreel, he was teaching the rituals of Hajj to Prophet Ibrahim as they went on from one place to another, and when they reached the ground of Arafat, Jibreel asked Ibrahim, "Hal arafta?" So Ibrahim replied, "Araftu," I understood. So since then this land is known as Arafat. This is one reason. Second reason is that Prophet Adam, he came there, Adam, and he asked for repentance, and he basically did i'tiraf of his, the error that he made. So because of this i'tiraf and this confession, this ground is known as Arafat. Third reason that they mention is that on this day, people they come together and they sit and they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ma'arifah, for the irfan. So hence it is also related to the name of Arafat. And the last important thing that it has been mentioned by the historians, that this day is known as Arafat because it was the day of Mu'arifah. Mu'arifah is the introduction of who? Introduction of Adam and Hawa. Adam and Eve. They met on this ground after they had been sent down from heaven. So this is the day which is very important, and performing ghusl on this day, it's again recommended, and this ghusl is considered to be the source of forgiveness of sins that a person has been performing, and a person, if he was, as I mentioned, was unable to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during Ramadan for his forgiveness, he should come and sit on this day and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's also recommended to recite the dua of Arafat, the famous dua of Imam Hussein, which he himself recited. Imam Hussein is said to be mentioned that he went on Hajj about 25 times. And every time he went on Hajj, at the ground of Arafat, he recited a different dua of Arafat. And this, one of those famous du'as is this dua that we are supposed to recite. There is also one dua of Arafat mentioned by our fourth Imam that also can be recited. But this dua is more famous, and it is more famous between the scholars to be recited. Now, there is a 2-unit prayer that a person should recite before reciting dua Arafat and after their Asr prayers. And it is also highly recommended for this. And a person is also asked to sit down and confess his sins to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his errors. Then the ziyarah of Imam Hussein is also mentioned. The reward of the ziyarah, if a person cannot go and perform the ziyarah to Kampala, then wherever he is, he's supposed to at least face the direction of Kampala and say salute to Imam Hussein, the reward of which is many Hajj, many Umrah, and the reward is of a person who is going for jihad in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, since we don't have a lot of time, everybody is busy with their important things in life, and they do not pay attention to the translations at least of these du'as. I would very quickly summarize this dua into 4 important parts, which I came to know. That the first part in this dua, it is really, if you get time, just go through the translation. So everything is available now online. It's so amazing when you see, when you recite this dua, how Imam is explaining about the birth of human being, about how this child is formed, about the organs that Imam explains about the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, how we talk, how we see, how we hear. It's very, very nice to know, and it is a miracle within itself to see Imam talking. Now the first part of this dua, as I think can be divided, is that Imam talks about the ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing Allah, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His divine attributes, then renewing the covenant and the ahd which a person, the abd, has with his Lord, and knowing the prophets, gaining the ma'rifah of the prophets, of the deputies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then strengthening the relationship between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the holy prophets. Paying attention to the hereafter, Ma'ad, Imam Hussain discusses, and then one should express his faith and talk about it, that this is the faith and ideology and the aqa'id that I possess. Second important part is that when Imam والسلام, is asking and he wants people to remember the infinite blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the bounties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to man, and praises and thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever Allah has given to us. And then third important thing is that a person admits his errors and sins in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and asks Allah to forgive him for his uncountable errors and mistakes that he has been doing. The fourth thing is that when Imam Hussain asks Allah for his blessings and bounties with the greetings and the salawat of the very important topic that we have been discussing, the importance of salawat. We discussed it, and Imam shows the importance of this dua at the end of this dua, that how important it is to ask Allah for whatever requests you have with the help of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
And Imam asks for forgiveness, for the light of guidance, for mercy, for blessings, abundance of sustenance, rewards in hereafter, and so on and so forth. So it is an important dua which everyone must go through at least once. What is the translation and how we are talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second important thing that I wanted to discuss today, and many of my brothers, they were requesting me to discuss this. I told them I will be discussing it during the Eid sermon, but they say it is going to be late. So I will just very quickly not go into detail. I have 10-12 more minutes on this first sermon about the rulings of slaughtering an animal. It is important to understand that this Eid, or whenever a person wants to slaughter a camel or a cow or a goat or a sheep or a chicken, although you cannot slaughter a chicken for Eid, these rulings that I'm talking about is specifically for the slaughtering of animals. Now, those animals which are halal. Now, the first thing that we need to bear in mind, any person who wants to slaughter an animal, there are 4 important jugular veins that needs to be cut of that animal that is to be slaughtered, and in one of those veins they remain uncut, the animal is not halal, cannot be consumed. So all those 4 veins should be cut. 2 of them are there in the food pipe, 2 of the other are there in the windpipe, which is known as the esophagus and tracheas. You need to cut all 4 of them, and this is very important. First thing to remember. Second important ruling is that the person who is slaughtering should be a Muslim. It does not matter which sect he belongs to, but should be a Muslim, and cannot be a kafir, cannot be a nasibi. A nasibi is a person who curses. Cannot be a nasibi. Can be man or a woman, doesn't matter. There is no condition for him or her to be baligh, but him or her should be mumayyiz, which is that he or she should be able to differentiate between good and bad. So even if a boy of 13 years or 12 years wants to slaughter, should be at least in a condition to understand what is good and bad, and he can or she can slaughter. Or a girl who is not the age of 9. Now, it is also important to understand that a Christian or a Yahudi or a Jew cannot slaughter on the precautionary level, obligatory precaution. Sistani says we cannot accept such a slaughter. Now, we know because the kuffar are categorized into 2 categories. One is the people, kuffar, the people of the book, and the people who do not follow the book. So the people of the book are tahir. They are pak, they are tahir for us, the Christians, the Jews, Majus, they are tahir, but we cannot, consume the sacrifice that we make. Second important thing is the dagger or the knife or the blade or the sword, whatever is being used to slaughter the animal should be, if possible, Allah says, if possible, should be made up of iron. Should not be of steel, should not be of any other material. If a person cannot, get a hold of a dagger or a sharp object made up of iron, he can use anything which is sharp enough to cut through all those four jugular veins, maybe a glass, or maybe a sharp piece of stone, whatever is available. Now, third important thing that is very important, sometimes I have seen this issue come up because when there are lots of animals to be sacrificed, many, they want to help those professionals who are sacrificing, and they do not pay attention to it, and because there is less place there or whatever may be the reason, they just face anywhere and everywhere and they should slaughter. You should be facing, the person who is slaughtering should be facing towards the Qibla, should be facing towards the Kaaba, and also the animal that is being slaughtered should be facing not the head or not the feet or the limbs, the hand or the legs, but the stomach of the animal should be facing, maybe lying on the left side or the right side, but the stomach should be facing towards the Qibla. And the person who is slaughtering also should be facing towards the Qibla. And if intentionally someone does not observe this condition, then the animal is considered not to be halal. But if someone forgets about it, it is okay. Now sometimes an animal falls into a pit or a well or somewhere where it is difficult to pull it out, and there is no room to turn the animal towards Kaaba. If a person has no other choice but to slaughter it on a different direction, then also it is okay to slaughter it, but only if he does not have choice. Now, one more important thing that one should, this is also something very important, and during the process of this slaughtering, people might not be able to, go through all these obligations. It is important and it's obligatory budget for a person slaughtering to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah be exalted, and he may also just call out Allah or say Allahu Akbar or anything, but it is necessary, and it is on a precautionary level that it is necessary to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim or Allahu Akbar Kamil. And it is also again necessary for the person to make the intention of slaughtering the animal. He cannot say, oh, I have said Allahu Akbar in the morning, now I'm slaughtering. No, he have to say Allahu Akbar for that specific slaughter, for that specific sacrifice of that animal, whatever animal it may be. So every time a person needs to slaughter, he has to take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the person slaughtering should take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another person on behalf of the person slaughtering cannot take the name. So the person who himself is slaughtering should say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim or Allahu Akbar or whatever he wants to say, but should take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, as I said, that intention is very important. So it cannot be that a person, if a knife all of a sudden falls on the neck of this animal, and this animal is slaughtered in the way that it should be slaughtered, supposedly, this cannot be consumed as halal because there was no intention of slaughtering the animal. If the intention was not slaughtering the animal according to the Islamic rulings, then also this animal is not considered to be halal. There are chances that in some situations an animal is being injured or is dying out, and a person wants to quickly slaughter it so that it becomes halal for him, and not making the intention of slaughtering it for the according to the Islamic laws, then also this animal is not halal. But if you are having this intention, then it is halal. So it is important. And a person I've seen, I was in Iran and I saw this. Okay, there's no time to do it. You should have intention. And a person who is in a state of unconsciousness or not in his stable mind or sleepy, also cannot slaughter because he will not be able to make the intention. Now, another important condition to slaughter the animal is that the animal must make some movements after it has been slaughtered. Now, this condition is where when you are doubting that this animal is alive or not at the time of slaughtering. So at the time of slaughtering, if you doubt the animal is alive or not, you must see that animal moves while you are slaughtering it. And if it does not move and there was a doubt of being it dead, then this animal cannot be consumed and is not considered to be halal. Last important condition for this slaughtering is that sufficient amount of blood must gush out, must be passed. And if you see that the blood is clotted and the blood is not coming out relatively according to that animal, then again this animal cannot be considered to be halal. There are many more other recommended acts to be considered. Now, very quickly, one important ethical and a moral thing that we need to understand that this might be our Eid, the Eid of Muslims. It might not be the Eid for the Jews, the Christians, but the Hindus who are your neighbors. So please keep your surroundings clean. Do not litter around. Do not just leave your building or apartment or wherever you have slaughtered dirty. You need to clean it up. You need to remove the smell. You need to understand it is not wajib, but it is mustahab. You are doing it at the end of the day to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by not pleasing others, you are not fulfilling the very essence of this sacrifice. So you need to understand, whether it be the campus and the compound of the mosque, or whether it be at your in your apartment, building, whatever, wherever you are doing it. When you leave, once you leave, you need to make sure that the place is clean, everything is removed, the blood is not there, the stains are not there, the smell is not there, whatever is necessary. So this is very important to understand. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq to witness the day of Eid and the day of Arafah and to fulfill our obligations. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna ahsan al-hadith wa afdal al-maw'idha kitab Allah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar inna shani'aka huwal abtar. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam.